This is going to be our trigger point technique for two muscles of the shoulder, the levator scapula and the upper trapezius. This time we're working closer to the shoulder blade, and if I position my hand like so, where my fingertips rest just above the shoulder blade, that's where we're going to be working with the lacrosse ball. So if I bring my arm up here, you can see that the shoulder blade tilts upwards at the pinky side and downwards at my index finger, and that's the lengthening of the tissues there that we want to create as we apply the pressure from the ball. And again, this can get tight in response to things like desk work at the computer, stress, tension, as well as exercise. I'm going to lie down again on my workout space and position the ball, as I said, just where my fingertips would be above the shoulder blade. Now I can keep my arm down and apply pressure just by essentially pushing with my legs and leaning into the ball and moving my body across from left to right to get the area that I need. And if this is an area that's tight for you, you probably feel some tenderness and trigger points straight away. One of the other things I can do is bring my arm up to create that lengthening, particularly of the levator scapula, which runs from the shoulder up towards the head, and therefore performing this movement overhead, I'm lengthening the muscle. And that makes it easier to get into some of those points of tension that I need to work on. Once again, small movements. Again, there's not a lot of movement needed, not like the quadriceps where you're moving across the length of a big muscle. This one we're moving side to side across a relatively thin muscle, a relatively short amount of space. So not a lot of movement, but subtle movements can create a very different feel into the different fibers that you'll be able to feel as you move around. So I can bridge my hips up, and that's going to apply a bit more pressure. And just like the other areas of the body, we're looking to go at a comfortable level of pressure. So a 5 or a 6 out of 10, and nothing more than this. And bringing the hips down, I can then bring my arm down as well. And even that movement, by moving the arm around, therefore moving the shoulder blade around, is going to help to apply different pressure into those muscle tissues. Again, this can be a very, very knotted, very trigger pointed area of the body to work on if you do spend a lot of time at the desk, at the laptop. And you'll probably find this one quite tender at the time, but again, it's the release after the technique, as we move around afterwards, that you'll feel that loosening, that lightening in the muscles. And just moving my body very subtly from left to right and up and down slightly, still focusing that work on the trigger ball near to the top of the shoulder blade. So working close to the shoulder blade rather than along the length of the neck. One more time, I'm going to bridge my hips up, and I can feel immediately that's putting more pressure. Just like lifting a wheelbarrow, the pressure goes onto the wheel and putting that pressure onto the ball. And subtle movements allow me to get that pressure where I feel I need it most. So, coming off of the ball and up to standing, this is where we're going to feel a little bit of ease of movement. So bringing the arm up overhead on this side. It's not like I've gained a huge amount of range of movement, but it just feels easier to get this arm up and back. There's less pulling this arm down. And just as we had that reach over the side with the lats, now as I bring my arm up, I can feel, again, turning my head and side bending the head. There's an ease of movement on this side that I don't feel yet on this side. And that's our trigger point technique for our shoulder and neck.